Welcome back for a new edition of Video Game Pickups. This time, it is January now. Hard to believe it. January of 2024. With that said, this time around, I decided it's going to be limited run edition. So with that said, there'll be a couple different platforms. Keep in mind. So with that said, first up we have of the couple more recent ones I have gone in the mail from limited run. First we have River City Girls 2. Now, if you don't know anything about the River City Girls series, it is honestly great. If you love beat 'em ups, this is a series I highly recommend checking out. Done by, yeah, you see that right, Arc System Works, along with also Way Forward Games. So, since Arc System Works is involved, you can know that at least the combat is going to be good. Also, the art is going to be solid, as Way Forward Games has always done, of course, beloved series like the Shantae series. With that said, next we have a really cool sequel to a classic series dating all the way back to Atari. That is Tempest 4000. Now, interestingly enough, Tempest, I believe it was Tempest 2000, was actually an Atari Jaguar exclusive, weirdly enough. As you see, the Atari logo on the bottom, but yeah. Tempest, I remember playing the original Tempest back years ago in the mid-90s, playing on my, at the time, Windows 95. So, Tempest games honestly have a heavy nostalgia for me personally, and also it's great as this one has a couple of different modes you can do, like the classic style, like 100 levels, leaderboards, arcade style shooter, also pulse pounding soundtrack based around the beats and stuff. It's actually really cool. If you like classic arcade style games, I highly recommend checking out Tempest. Now, you can get this digitally. You don't have to get physical, though. I believe through Amazon you can actually still get this, since they partnered up with Limited Run. And at least when I got it, it was like $29.99. So it's very affordable, very reasonable. I think it's more than worth the money. Next up, of course, needs no real introduction. Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Lords. Of course, with on the cover art there, of course, Darth Nihilus. A classic game from the original Xbox era. As you see, also involved in it, Obsidian. And I do miss LucasArts a lot. I miss the era the original game came from. This is, from what I understand, actually a pretty solid overall port. So, if you get a chance, pick it up digitally or whatever. If you can get a reasonable normal price range, pick up physical, of course, as that's what I always say, since I'm a big backer of physical. Next, we have an interesting little platformer, which was designed like it came from the PS1 era. And, well, PS1 / Saturn / N64 era. It's actually really cool and interesting, and yeah, it has lots of, it's a puzzle platformer, which can have also a decent difficulty curve, but it's actually a very charming game. Honestly, if you get a chance to give a shot to this Froggin, or however you want to say it, I do recommend checking it out. If you're a fan of like early style 3D puzzle platformers, this is actually a blast to play, and more than worth the time of playing it, as a big fan of old school platformers. Next up, We have an interesting RPG. It's more or less a 2D. As you can see, at least it also includes free upgrade. Now, keep in mind this is also a bit for people who don't mind characters that are, like, have furry elements to the character and stuff. But this game does have a nice art, classic, like, 2D art style. It is a more or less a turn-based RPG, of course. If you appreciate good classic, like Super Nintendo style JRPGs and stuff of the past, this is actually a game I do highly recommend checking out. It has very good combat mechanics, and overall, if you just appreciate the classic, reasonable difficulty of 2D era JRPGs, it's definitely a good one. Now, if you're looking for some more based around combat and you're a fan of games like, say, Devil May Cry, this is a game then I would say check out. Ultra Age. Now, you can get this actually through the limited run store on Amazon. But yet, actually, surprisingly, for an indie game, graphically, it actually looks pretty good for the most part. It looks like a game, I would say, honestly, it looks like it could have come out on possibly the PS3, but through a lot of the shading and particle effects, definitely look like some more from the PS4 era. But if you like good hack and slash style combat games like Devil May Cry, Bayonetta and stuff, this is actually something you may want to check out, as you can still get relatively easy. Second to last is a nifty, cool, I guess you could say a horror slash walking sim game. A short story, also a fellow YouTuber was involved in this game. The Sorrow Virus. And it is definitely unique and different compared to many other, like, indie horror games. Well, indie horror slash walking sim combined into one. It's actually pretty cool, and I recommend checking it out. Because I do have a weird obsession and weakness for walking sim games for some reason. Last but not least, this is the most important one. Now, this I had to sadly win auction on eBay for. Of course, Exion Verge. Hopefully I'm saying it correctly. The Multiverse Edition. Now, this is, of course, the Wii U version, as since I'm working on trying to get the complete Wii U collection, had to go get this as is the only limited run game ever released on the Wii U. But with that said, I'll see y'all next time, and stay safe and have a good, safe 2024, everyone. See you soon, and hopefully enjoyed in the background the music from Killer Instinct.